here. Only Canada is trying to get to the bottom of the one they missed. We are just finding out about the many more bad guys on whom we took a pass. Welcome, everybody. I'm Neil Cavuto. And do any of you remember this?
Are you confident that not one of these detainees is a threat to his or her community?
And as ICE made clear yesterday, the agency released these low-risk, non-criminal detainees under a less expensive form of monitoring to ensure detention levels stayed within ICE's overall budget.
Those low-risk detainees apparently not so low risk. A new report finding that some had serious criminal records, including kidnapping, sexual assault, even homicide. To Mike Emanuel in Washington with the very latest on that. Mike.
Well, Neil, you heard it right there. The White House sold these guys as being low-risk, non-criminal detainees and that it would save money. Today, our colleague Ed Henry at the White House looked for answers.
You saying that when several months ago, Jay Carney said, don't worry about it. We're not releasing anybody who's dangerous.
Time and time again, we've talked about why we believe it's important for us to increase security resources at the border to protect the border. We've talked a lot about how we believe that the deportation policy in this country should be focused on those individuals that pose a risk to the community. And that will continue to be the focal point of our efforts. Again, I'm not in a position to discuss individual cases.
Texas Republican Senator John Cornyn is furious about the revelation some of those released were accused of homicide and other serious crimes, saying, quote, time and again this administration has demonstrated it believes it is above the law, a mindset that's been inherited from the top down. And Tennessee Republican Congressman Diane Black says the continued incompetence of this administration is stunning and, quote, even if the administration's assurances about the criminal backgrounds of those released were simply a mistake, it reinforces a pattern of bureaucratic ineptitude inside the Obama administration that underscores why the American people do not trust them. Some of the irritation on Capitol Hill is based on what administration officials told lawmakers in March of last year.
On just general gang affiliation, I can't say that we would know for.
All right, let me ask you this question on the aggravated felonies that you talked about. I'm looking at the list here, and I'm just running through a couple of them, but no one on that list was charged or convicted with murder, rape, or sexual abuse of a minor, were they?
They were not.
Today, an Immigration and Customs Enforcement spokesperson told us, quote, the discretionary releases made by ICE were of low-level offenders. However, the releases involving individuals with more significant criminal histories were, by and large, dictated by special circumstances outside of the agency's control. Some critics on Capitol Hill say this proves the administration is not serious about deporting illegal immigrants, even the worst of the worst. Neil?
Mike, thank you very much. Well, Pinal County, Arizona Sheriff Paul Babbitt warned that serious criminals would be released. In fact, he's seen it happen many times. Sheriff, it looks like you were right, but in numbers that we could never fathom. What do you make of this?
Well, this is when February 26th, this is 2013, when we broke this story because they had released hundreds right in my county in Arizona. And when I brought this out, because of 5 courageous whistleblowers within ICE, they said I was lying. It went all the way up to the White House, and they knowingly lied. It wasn't me, it was them, and there's 2,228 released in California, Arizona, Texas, and Georgia. And the most troubling part of the story is everybody, now that this has been exposed, that this administration knowingly lied, releasing people, like in my county, 2 that were charged with manslaughter, people who were charged, convicted of child molestation, aggravated assault against police officers, armed robbery. The worst news is we still don't know their names, where they were released to this very moment that we're talking.
All right, so we have no idea where these guys are.
Correct.
So what do we do?
I sent a letter not only to the secretary, this John Morton, who you just had on, that knowingly lied to Congress. All these people have just tried to cover up. I've even asked Senator John McCain. He has promised me to get me these names over a year ago. I need to protect the citizens of my county, and God knows where these individuals are, and they have a greater propensity for recidivism, the return to crime, because they're not even from our country. And they've committed some of the most egregious crimes of murder and armed robbery and assault against a cop. So
Well,
Congress
that
better do
raises
something.
another scary issue, though, Sheriff. You and I chatted about this. If it's true,
Yes.
the administration is hinting that after the midterms elections it might delay or stop outright millions of deportations, then it is possible that those who have maybe on the land here or running out here could be prevented from being deported here, right?
Correct. And that is the larger issue that the president has already put out, that they have ordered all these green cards and work permits for post-election, 10 plus million, 20 plus million of these green cards to be able to issue to all these people when he's already announced his executive action. So I've called on Congress, please stop this president from unilaterally taking action, powers that he doesn't have.
I don't know why it would be in anyone's interest, though, Sheriff, trying to give the benefit of the doubt. If you know someone is a dangerous criminal or has anything from burglary to manslaughter on his or her rap sheet, that why it would be in our interest to keep them here anyway. Why would we do that?
Well, this is Obama said these were the worst of the worst that even he wanted to deport, and then they released. Keep in mind, February 26 of 2013, this is when the sequester battle was going on in Congress. And remember, they wanted to turn up the volume of the pain. This was their first move, was to do the most egregious act to scare people. Oh yeah, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to release these people. Congress started to inquire about it. Congressman Issa said he promised to hold hearings on this. It was all their intention for a political end result. They wanted to get this budget impasse resolved and force Congress to do whatever the president wanted.
Scary stuff, Sheriff. Thank you very much.
It is. Thank you, Neil.